Hey everyone, how are you all doing today? So something that has sparked a massive amount of theories and speculation throughout the internet is from that one little scene in The Force Awakens where we got that flashback vision from when Rey touched Luke's lightsaber, and we saw the Knights of Ren. Now myself and the rest of the internet on Reddit and YouTube and everywhere have theorized who these guys are. Are they bounty hunters? Are they Jedi killers? Are they acolytes of the Beyond? Who are basically these cult-like beings that hunted down old Sith relics and artifacts like Vader's lightsaber? Were they powerful Force users? Were they ex-Jedi? Were they members of Luke's temple that Kylo took with him because, as we know in Episode 8, Luke says that he took a bunch of his students with him during the Temple Massacre. Now, I've seen online that someone put this as Episode 9 concept art. This is actually from the Episode 7 book. It took me a bit of time to find it, but I was determined to make sure that this is the proper information, that it's definitely Episode 7, because if it was Episode 9, well, that'd be really cool, but unfortunately it's not. So right here, what do we have? This to me looks like a lightsaber, and not just any lightsaber. It looks a lot like Vader's. Now, if this is actually Vader's, well, hey, these might just be the acolytes of the Beyond, who we learned about in the Aftermath novels. Now, if you don't know who they are, they're basically the sect or cult that went around searching for ancient relics and artifacts and things like that from Darkseid. They were just fanboys at the end of the day, pretty much. And one of the things that they were looking for in the Aftermath novel, where they were going to the black market, essentially, and they were looking for Vader's lightsaber. No one knows if they found it, no one knows if they were successful, but judging by this photo, whoever was searching for it obviously found it. Now, that's not to say that this Knight of Ren is an acolyte of the Beyond. The acolytes of the Beyond might have been searching for it when this Knight of Ren himself had it, or herself. Who knows who's under that mask? This would mean that if Rey's vision was a flashback from the Knights of Ren sequence with Kylo, which I believe it was because Kylo's helmet here isn't all red and broken and cracked like we see it will be in Episode 9, which means that it should be far before Episode 8 or 7, tells us that they've obviously hunted down Vader's lightsaber. So, where has it been during this time? So if this is a lightsaber, and it's Vader's lightsaber, then it would lead me to believe a very interesting theory that I think could make sense. I think the reason we haven't seen them is because they're on some hell-bent mission somewhere maybe in the unknown regions or elsewhere from where the movies have been focalizing on, with something to do with either Vader or Palpatine. Now, in a couple videos back that I just made, J.J. Abrams, during the time of The Force Awakens, released that Kylo Ren joined the Knights of Ren. This means that the Knights of Ren, I assume, were around before him, or at least before he became Kylo. However, we do know that his powers were so great that he became the master of the Knights of Ren. So, where does this leave us? Why would they be looking for Vader's lightsaber? I think it goes far beyond Kylo just being obsessed with his grandfather. I think these Knights of Ren either work for Palpatine only, or they work for Kylo as he is the master of them, in order to find some special ancient artifacts that either give him some sort of a flashback whenever he touches them, just as Rey does. She has that power, and she can't be the only one. As we know, Quinlan Vos has this power as well in the Clone Wars. Or Kylo is looking for some sort of key that will help him do something, and I'm guessing since Palpatine's coming back, maybe that's to either bring Palpatine back or Vader back. I mean, what would be better for him than to talk to his actual grandfather in person and maybe learn from him? In the original concept art for Episode 7, J.J. Abrams wanted Anakin to come back, and there was this really interesting note that they put under Anakin's photo, his actual photo of Hayden Christensen, where they wrote, "When you light a candle, you also cast a shadow." And this is very poetic in the sense that when you do have the light side, I guess we could say, you also have the dark side. So he wanted to have this Force ghost that would transfer back and forth between Anakin and Vader, which, to me, the concept, I don't really know how they would pull it off without it being kind of weird or cheesy, but I think it makes a lot of sense, actually. Because Vader was a completely different side to Anakin. He was a different person. So when Anakin finally came back in Return of the Jedi, he was the one that actually brought balance to the Force. It wasn't Vader. Vader had died. And that's why Vader always says Anakin Skywalker was weak. Now, the thing I want to talk about is how does this Knight of Ren have Vader's lightsaber? Not just how did he find it or anything like that, but Vader's lightsaber fell to the bottom of the Death Star, which blew up. But then again, so did Palpatine, and Palpatine blew up with it. So if Palpatine can survive, so can Vader's lightsaber. I'm guessing maybe Vader made it so indestructible, and this is so far-fetched, that it fell to the planet below, and maybe the Knights of Ren went and found it, or it was floating somewhere in space, and they put it back together, and maybe that's why it looks a little shortened or something. Who knows? Or maybe that's just the concept art design. Now, what I'm also thinking from this is maybe the crystal was still intact and Kylo took it and then put it in his lightsaber, but it was so powerful or it was so strong that it overpowered his lightsaber and he wasn't able to contain it. Or maybe it was cracked from it being damaged, and that's why Kylo's lightsaber flickers. Then again, his lightsaber design is also based on an ancient schematic blueprint, so it leads me to wonder if it really has anything to do with the crystal or not. Now, where do we also see this lightsaber design? Well, we see it in Rebels, but we also hear this lightsaber, the same crackling sound, from the new Vader Immortal game. And this very interesting and mysterious figure has it named the Black Bishop, and he is stuck between the world between worlds. Literally, he says that, I'm stuck between this world and the next. And there's a curse on him, and you have to go through these missions to get the bright star in order for the curse to be lifted and he can then be free. The guy can also stop time, literally. I'm gonna play a clip for you from the game where you can hear him talk about his curse.
Return the Bright Star to the Mustafarians. They may be able to heal the damage done by Lady Corvax. My Lady Corvax. She tried to save me from death. I was cursed. Trapped between this world and the next. Take my light sword from the statue. It will unlock the Bright Star. Return the Bright Star to the Mustafarians, and I may be freed from this curse.
So obviously with a character like this just looming around in Star Wars, which I highly believe that the Vader Immortal series will tie into the sequels very, very nicely, at least in some sort of way. We can see that all these different kinds of lightsabers have been in Star Wars throughout different times, especially this new looking one, which actually ties into one of the first concept arts for lightsabers that we ever got in the Force Awakens book, which I'm going to make a video on. The thing was literally just a crystal. That's how simple it was. And of course, this is canon. However, no one really knows about it because it's just in one page of the concept art from Episode 7. More on that will come in another video. So here's what I think could happen. In Episode 9, Kylo could go to Mustafar, and knowing all about this possible legend or who the Black Bishop is, I'm hoping that we get to know more about his story, in Vader Immortal Episode 3. But regardless of whatever it is, Kylo should come to know about it. And once he does, he'll know that the Bright Star can bring those back from the dead. At least, he's hoping. So to do this, he has to go to Mustafar, and possibly there's some key or something to get into Vader's castle. I'm just completely theorizing here at this point. I'm going off on left field, and we're just gonna go with it. So let's say the Knights of Ren track down these different key portals or these items or whatever they may be, and then give it to Kylo. He gets these flashbacks which then allow him to understand where certain portals or keys are that would allow him to go into the castle. Once he does, then he's able to find more about the Bright Star, or he goes into Vader's lair. And I mean, just how cool would it be if we actually get Kylo and the Knights of Ren walking into Vader's castle on Mustafar and finding all these different rooms and chambers and meditation chambers and things like that that Vader had while he was alive. Now, quickly pivoting and looking at Luke. He has this Sith Crusader pendant, and it's actually a Sith crystal that hangs off of his neck. This can be found in the toys and also in the Last Jedi movie, as well as the visual dictionary. What on earth is this pendant for? Why does he have a Sith crystal hanging on a string? Now, one of the symbolisms of having a necklace or wearing a necklace is that it hangs above your heart or hangs over your heart, which means that it's very dear and special to you. My theory is that this crystal, the Sith red crystal, is Vader's. And maybe it's the last piece that Kylo needs so that his lightsaber will stop flickering. I don't know, why else would Luke have this Sith crystal? What's so special about it? Especially if he's so done with being a Jedi, he doesn't even have his lightsaber anymore, and throws away his lightsaber from The Empire Strikes Back once Rey gives it back to him. Then what is the necessity to hold on to this pendant or this crystal? Clearly there's something more to it than just being fashionable. So I think perhaps in that flashback scene, maybe we got the Knights of Ren going to perhaps Ahch-To. As we can see in the background, there's this flash of lightning which has the tree, or the Jedi Temple. Now we know Luke also had the first Jedi Temple on Ahch-To as well, so which Jedi Temple this is, whether it's Luke's or the first one on Ahch-To, we won't know for sure until later. So let's say they go to Ahch-To to try to find the crystal, but of course Luke either isn't there or he just dispatches of them and they all get out of there. Perhaps they've rebuilt Vader's lightsaber and that was the last piece that they needed. The theories can really go on and on here. At the end of the day, one of the Knights of Ren has a lightsaber looking hilt hanging from his belt, and I think it looks like Vader's. So you let me know down in the comments what you really think. Thanks for watching this theory video, as well as it's factual, because, well, he's actually got a lightsaber on his belt. Lo and behold, it's pretty cool. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you, always.
Fulfill your destiny.